I always did think I was a good nurse. I thought I was compassionate and understanding. I really did think I did know what it was like to be a patient, yeah. One day I was diagnosed with breast cancer 5 years ago now, and I realised that it's hard work being a patient. It's emotionally and physically draining being a patient, and I don't think I had a concept of how hard that is. From the day I was diagnosed to the day of my first surgery, which was 7 days later, I had an invasive procedure done every single day. And by the end of those 7 days, what I thought my strengths were had fallen apart. You hit a wall and you don't think you can go anymore. You've been poked and prodded every day, and the things that become important is compassion.
Working in hospitals, I think we forget how unnatural this environment really is and how confronting being in hospital and being around sickness is. Being aware of that, and we need to remind ourselves that what these people are going through is something they've probably never experienced before. And not only are they worried about either their own health or their loved one's health, they're in a very strange environment. So I think being aware of that and just trying to soften that, it can be really helpful for the patient and their family.
I don't think that it's unusual for compassion to perhaps be one of the first things that drops off when the healthcare system is under such pressure to move patients through, for us to see more patients in less amount of time that we do have, and to still provide a good service for these patients. I think that perhaps we're not so aware that compassion itself is the thing falling off, but I think it's important that we continue to think about the individual that is in that hospital bed and how we can listen to their story and understand their perspective.
There are two nurses that probably stick out the most to me. One was a radiology assistant he wasn't a nurse, but an assistant, who could tell during a really painful procedure without even having to ask that I needed help. And he walked over and he held my hand and he didn't let go until the procedure stopped and the tears stopped. Then he let go. And I think the fact that I didn't even have to ask, that he could tell I was struggling, that he just walked over and took my hand and didn't let go, was something that I will always remember. The second nurse would be my oncology nurse. I had my first chemotherapy. I was so ill that I'd been readmitted back into hospital and I was ready to give up. I'd had 2 surgeries in a space of a week, multiple invasive procedures, as I said, and then a chemotherapy that I just felt terrible. So I fell apart and I wanted to give up. I thought it would be easier to give up. So I had a nurse who walked in and she sat by my side and she put her arm around me for an hour. And she made me feel like, that there was no one else there that needed her help, that I was the only one. And I will always remember that. Because I picked myself up and I got better and I fought the next day.
In terms of empathy, it's a higher order skill, very important to be able to walk in somebody else's shoes and try and imagine what it is like for them in their lived experience, their day-to-day reality around the hardship that they're experiencing. My approach would be to walk in with a warm and engaging manner and, approach that person with a sense of, again, respect and dignity is crucial. And to sit on the bed and provide the non-verbal cues that most people are aware of, irrespective of culture, language or cognition. The non-verbal cues are very important. I mean, they say that people, about 70 or 80% of communication is non-verbal. So, you know, if you're saying something but your body language, you feel something different, those feelings will be picked up rather than the words.
So since my illness, I think I've changed a little bit. I am definitely more compassionate, definitely more understanding that things compact, and what I thought was a simple procedure like an IV or having a scan or being sent for an x-ray or some basic procedure that we think nothing of, that we do to our patients every single day, it all adds up. Nursing is hard, and you always feel you're busy all day, you don't stop, and it's hard to make every patient feel like they're their only one, and so I get it, but just the little things count, I think, is what I'm saying. If I had to sum it up into one thing, it would be that the little things count.